Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about, just the current state of the supplement industry, supplements that work, and people don't like to hear this. I don't even like to have to admit this. I was definitely one of the most anti-supplement people out there, but I always felt that there were a few that work. I'm like, but 90% of them are garbage. It's mostly a scam, but there's a few things that work, and unfortunately, most of the research just hasn't panned out even for those things. And as science has dug deeper into it, more experts get involved because really we're at a point with all these various problems due to lifestyle. Medical doctors, nutrition researchers really and truly care about finding anything they can to help their patients. And so, they're looking at these things. And they've looked very closely for a long time at various supplements. I've known a cardiologist who always recommended fish oil. But then the thing is, I've seen one who's later said, when he's looked at the data, he's like, I pushed fish oil for a long time. He goes, because I believe there was some preliminary data on it. He goes, I pushed it for over a decade. He's like, but I didn't really see the benefits in my patients. And then, we look at the clinical data, and it's just simply not showing that omega-3 supplements or fish oil worked at all. He's like, all the studies we have for omega-3, we oftentimes assume it carries over to the same thing in pill form, and it just doesn't seem to occur. It's people who eat fatty fish got the benefits. But the reality is people who eat omega-3 from even plants actually seem to get better benefits, and it doesn't matter whether it's coming from walnuts, flax seeds, tofu, whatever, all these high omega-3 foods. They all get better health markers than even the fish oil does, which doesn't really seem to help. And then there's a lot of debates in the literature and the experts as to if some parts of the fish oil serve as negatives. So we're running into this case to where stuff like this doesn't seem to work. Okay? What about some other stuff? Creatine. It's turning out now with the newest data, because a lot of us said, hey, we don't see any benefits at all. What they're claiming people are measuring, we're not seeing, but we take it anyways. Same thing for the cognitive benefits. I took it and bought plenty of creatine because of the potential Alzheimer's research. Alzheimer's runs in my family. My grandfather had it. I watched him degenerate. So I'm like, I should probably be taking this. But then the data is showing that the muscle gains may not even be statistically significant. It's so small, right? It's so small it may not matter at all. And I think people forget that creatine is something our body is capable of making. I think they forget it. They're like, but it comes from all this meat. It's like, yeah, because a lot of animals can make it. We can technically make it if we have enough protein and other stuff. Again, a point that needs to be raised. Right? Protein seemed to help. Why? Because a lot of people, it's a convenience factor. And I think particularly people who are doing totally plant-based, there's absolutely more merit to it. But even then, people who are not, whey protein is absolutely a solid protein source. But at the end of the day, in a mixed diet, it's not better than whole foods. It's just another food. So it's almost an odd man out. Before people get upset, I have some friends out there that even own some small protein companies. I'm like, don't worry, guys, I'm not calling you out. Protein is still potentially situationally useful, right? It's just food. It's just food. And when we understand that, we're good. It's just a convenient food source. And I mean, even me, I like to do a protein post-workout, protein shakes, just to get a quick absorbing protein after I train. All right. Okay. But again, we have to remember it's just food. What about other stuff? B12 for vegans or plant-based people. Again, vegan is not a diet. Vegan is an ideology. I think people would have to remember that. And a lot of them, some of them don't believe that they need anything. So I've seen vegans who are like that. So let's just say plant-based in general. Okay, there's definitely some use to B12 supplementation. Okay, so we have that. But that's situationally useful, right? That's a case of where we might say, well, there could be issues with this sort of diet, but it's easily fixable in the modern world. And that's largely been done with vitamin D3, but most people don't need it. Vitamin D3 is situationally useful, but look at how it's done. It's usually because of darker climates, particularly conflicts in skin pigmentation versus the climate you're in is useful. But it's put in tons of food already. It's already fortified in lots of foods because we know that those benefits exist. And so because of that, it's very situationally useful. I'm not saying it's not useful, but it's situational. And in some cases, it might be something that people take as just a safety net because they're worried they could be. Okay, fine. But the best way to know is to go get blood tests, and that'll tell you if you're low or not. Supplementing it if you're not low probably doesn't have any benefits. Vitamin K2 maybe for atherosclerosis, potentially. All right, for people at risk of that, I always tell people if you're going to be an enhanced lifter, particularly if heart disease runs in your family, okay, K2 is not a bad idea, but you should also be eating tons of leafy greens with vitamin K anyways. So again, situationally useful. What about prenatal vitamins? Yeah, absolutely, situationally useful. Most of us aren't pregnant most of the time. Okay, but if you happen to be, yeah, absolutely. But your doctor will prescribe those. And here's what they're finding. It's not that the prenatal vitamins are that good, it's the folic acid, the folate in there. That seems to be pretty much the real benefit. Those large doses of that absolutely help with prenatal development. So it may not, but it's the direction that looks, a lot of the researchers are saying it's not the whole prenatal vitamin that's helping, it's that specifically. That really seems to be the real winner. Is it useful? Sure, but it's situationally useful. Okay, and do we see where we're going with all this? And most of this other stuff is junk, absolute junk. Most of the vitamins are junk. Multivitamins, I don't even think they're a good idea. I've said that for a decade. There's always been concerns of safety with that and no benefit. Okay, that has always been a point of contention. Most free-form amino acids, branched-chain aminos, they don't do anything when supplemented, nothing. Pre-workout's been found to not produce any real gains. They're just addictive. So on and so forth. Test boosters, complete waste of money. All right, at the end of the day, all of this stuff is largely useless. The ones that are useful are situationally useful, and if you're not in that situation, they just don't make a lot of sense. And in some cases, they're a matter of convenience, like protein powders. But convenience is still situationally useful. None of these supplements are really useful across the board where we could say pretty much every lifter, everyone exercising would benefit from them, or there's health benefits to them. It's just not the case. Last one, maybe melatonin if you're struggling with sleep. Absolutely, that's very useful if you need the sleep benefit. Okay. And that's assuming you haven't fixed your other lifestyle interventions first. But, again, sleep is an important thing. And if you're struggling with it, that makes sense. But again, we come over to situational usefulness. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.